Hi guys, it's John from Android Addicts, and today we're going to be having a look at the Logitech G Cloud. So the G Cloud is Logitech's entry into the handheld market, with the likes of the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally doing quite well. Logitech have come out with what is basically a cloud Android tablet with a controller stuck to it. Now it has a 7-inch IPS display here running at 1920 by 1080, and it's running a Snapdragon 720G. Now that contains the Adreno 618 GPU, and it has just 64 gigabytes of internal storage. Now with just 4 gigs of RAM and a 6000 mAh battery, a lot of people are probably wondering what on earth or who on earth this device is for. So I'm going to explain that to you now, because I've been using this for a few weeks now. I'm quite confident in saying that this is probably the best handheld gaming device you can currently buy. Now, before everyone starts going crazy in the comments, I am going to explain myself as to why that is. And I'd say it's even better than playing on an S23 Ultra, which I have here. And the reason it's better is quite simple. It's the screen size. So before I purchased this, I was looking for a gaming device that I could play remotely my Xbox and Game Pass and other things on without having to constantly mess around, taking my phone out of a case and syncing up with controllers and things. And the best I actually came up with was my Bluetooth Game Sir with my S22 Ultra in it, which is what I'm using to record this video. So that was all very well and good, but the problem with that is that the screen size on these phones is not 16:9. So the main difference you're going to find with the Logitech G Cloud is this screen ratio, and that does make a massive difference here. So I'm just going to quickly show you exactly what I mean by that. So 16:9 is what most people's TVs are. So when you come to play Xbox on a standard sort of smartphone, you're going to get these huge black borders here, and it's really quite ugly, and it's not very fulfilling to use on such a sort of big screen like this. You're getting this 16:9 sort of picture inside your phone, and that's just hideous, and it's just not very aesthetically pleasing. For those who want to play remotely on their consoles, this is not the answer. So let's just compare that to the Logitech G Cloud here, and we can see instantly that this is just a much better experience overall. You've got a full screen here of your content, and you can jump into a game and it's just filling the whole screen. So 16:9 is the way to go. So that is screen size out the way. Now what about the fact that this is obviously a slightly older Android chipset? Now you can install games from the Play Store, as you'd expect on any Android device, and they do work fine. Obviously you're using a GPU which is a couple of years old, and again there's going to be people saying, well, why didn't they put in a slightly older, maybe an 888 processor or something with a bit more power in it? And the reason behind that, I believe, is because of the power efficiency of this chipset. Now I'm getting around 8 to 10 hours of gameplay on this device so far, and that is whilst downloading huge updates and install packs for Genshin Impact and other things like PUBG. And the battery life on this is just insane. So we can see a screenshot I took here the other day, and we can see that the device was charged up fully 3 days prior to this, and it had a screen time usage of 8 hours and 16 minutes. Now that was with about 20% battery remaining, so that's pretty good if you ask me. I've had this charged up to 100% and it loses about 1 to 2% battery overnight or in around 12 hours. So the standby on this is absolutely insane. And I think that's helped by the fact that you can only run one app at a time. So you can see here currently the Xbox app is running. If I try and run something else such as Chrome, you'll see it asks you if you want to quit the Xbox app and open Chrome. So just having one app running at one time, I think, is actually a really clever idea for this device. So battery life, when you compare this to like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, you can see that this is by far the winner, because this is not doing the processing of the games you play. That's when you're playing cloud gaming, of course. Now, if you are going to be playing games locally, which you can of course do, then it is going to use up more battery, but it's still going to be a lot less than the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, which are running Windows in the background, and therefore it's going to be draining a lot of your battery. And this doesn't get warm, it doesn't get hot that I've ever found. So this is another reason that the battery can last so long. Now by default, it does, like I say, come with 64 gigs of storage. I have put a micro SD card in here at the top, 128 gigs, and that basically allows you to move all your apps and games across to it. Once you pop it in, it'll bring up a message such as the following, and it's going to ask you how you want to use your SD card. I clicked here to use tablet storage, and it automatically moved all my bits and pieces across to my SD card to free up space on the internal storage. So I've now got 192 gigabytes of storage on this device, and that has allowed me to install different emulators and ROMs, and it's just a complete powerhouse for gaming now. So I'll quickly go over the cloud gaming, we'll then go on to Android gaming and then emulation. So one thing I was worried about with this is that the fact it does only come with Wi-Fi 5 gigahertz support. It does not support Wi-Fi 6. Now, I was quite worried that that was going to cause major issues when I was playing games, but it turned out actually that it doesn't cause any issues at all. And what we're going to do is put on a little widget on the screen here so we can see exactly how much network speed we're using. Okay, so we've got the widget up here in the top left, and that's going to be showing us our download speed. That's probably the most important one. And our upload speed is also up there. So I'm just going to load into a game now. Okay, so we can see as I'm playing through this is using less than 1 megabyte per second. It's using 800 kilobytes per second. So for a local network, obviously this is absolutely fine. So as long as you've got a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi network at home, you should be absolutely fine doing the remote play of your console. So now we're going to move into cloud gaming, and we're just going to have a look at how much we're going to use up for this. Okay, we're logged in via cloud gaming now, and you can see that we're using actually less than we were with the remote console streaming, around 700 kilobytes per second. So not a huge amount really, but you do need to obviously have a decent connection with some very low latency to get a good result like this. So what else do we get with this? We get GeForce Now as well. So you do get a month's free trial when you sign in to your G Cloud for the first time. And I've just been trying out Genshin Impact just as a test to see how well it works compared to on an Android phone, and it's just so much better. It's insane, as you're just about to see. Okay, so here I'm in Genshin Impact, and you can see I've got it set to 920 by 1080, and everything else is completely maxed out. And it runs like an absolute dream here. This is obviously the best I've ever played this game at. It's just so smooth, and it is obviously on all the maxed out settings. So yeah, for cloud gaming, I mean, you can see here that the amount of data it's using is around 1.5 to 2 megabytes per second. So you are going to need a decent connection for this. What I'm going to do is switch over to my slower network now, and we'll see if it can still cope with this kind of speed. I'm going to switch over to my Vodafone line now, and we'll see how much of a difference that makes.
Hey, there's something strange over there. Come on, let's take a look.
Okay, so a bit of a stutter there to start with, but it is coping okay. So my Vodafone line runs at about 50 to 60 megabits per second down and about 30 up. So you can see here, even at those speeds, this is actually coping absolutely fine. So it's amazing to see such sort of high quality on a slower line as well, but that does hopefully give people a bit of peace of mind that it can run on slower connections. So the question is now, what happens if you don't have Wi-Fi with you? Well, most people do. They could always turn their hotspot on their phone or something. This doesn't have any SIM card built into it, so you do only have the option to connect to Wi-Fi networks. So if that's likely to be you, then let's just take a look at how Genshin, as an example, runs on the old Snapdragon 720G. Okay, so here we are on the Android version, and you can see it's looking not too bad. I've got the graphics set to medium, and we've left it on 30 FPS, so it's a more sort of balanced. Now you can see here, I'm actually using the controls here to play the game. So I'll quickly just show you the key mapping here, which does come built into the controller, which is nice. So if you press and hold the home key at any point, you bring up these quick settings here. And what we're gonna do is just go into the key mapping section here. And I'll just show you exactly what I've done on mine. So I've just put the various different functions on the screen, and it's allowing me to play the game with a controller. So it is quite nice that that is built in. You don't have to use any third-party apps at all to get that working. So yeah, considering this is such an old processor, it actually handles this pretty well. I'm really impressed. So here we have Redream, and we're just playing some Rayman 2. And as you can see, it's locked at 60 frames per second. Absolutely no problem at all running these games. So I've had to turn off the music here, but as you can see, it's running at a decent 60 FPS here. Haven't played this for absolutely years. Here we are with the PSP emulation. As you can see, it's working absolutely fine. Right, so here we are with some GameCube emulation on the Dolphin emulator, and we're just doing a bit of Mario Kart Double Dash. I've just laid up the Wii emulator here, and it doesn't work very well, certainly not with Super Mario Brothers. If we just have a quick listen, you'll see. So there we have it. That is the Logitech G Cloud. And yeah, overall, really impressed with this device. It feels really good in the hand. It's lightweight, enough to play for multiple hours at a time. Battery life, absolutely fantastic. Controls all feel really nice. If you're used to a sort of Xbox controller, you'll be more than happy. Now the price being about £330 RRP is quite expensive. I managed to get mine for £250 from an Amazon warehouse clearance. Apparently there was 5 dead pixels. I can't see any dead pixels at all. So I think I've got quite a bit of a bargain there. I'd say £250 is about the right sort of price for this. Hopefully it will come down in price as time goes on. Now it's yet to be seen whether Logitech will upgrade this. It's currently running version 11 of Android, so it's a bit old, but does that really matter in the grand scheme of things when most of the time you're going to be using it for cloud gaming? Let me know what your thoughts are on the Logitech G Cloud. I have put a link down below if you want to pick one of these up from Amazon. Like I say, really good fun. If I want to play a quick game or something from my Xbox, I just turn it on. There's always going to be battery in it. I've never had a time where I've come to it and thought, oh dear, I'm not going to have enough time to play. It's a good, like I say, 8 to 10 hours of battery, at least from my experience. So that alone makes it so much better than the other options out there. If you can find an Android tablet this size that fits in a controller, whether it's a GLAP controller like this or anything that can even rival this, then do let me know down below in the comments, because I didn't manage to find anything on my search. And yeah, I found this absolutely brilliant, and it was just what I was looking for. Like I say, when I was trying to find something which was going to do me well, as good as a GameSir X2 is, it's just not a dedicated gaming device, and therefore the win definitely does go to the Logitech G Cloud. So thanks again for watching. Any questions you have, let me know down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified when I next release a video.